Hi, everybody. It's me again, Charles Norman Sports Solutions, LLC. We are the creators of AthleticSOS. First of all, happy Father's Day to all the dads, all the granddads, anybody that is working with someone, with young people, that they see you as a father figure. Happy Father's Day to all of you guys, and I hope you have a wonderful day. But having said that, our title for this one is going to seem a little bit like a downer, but I promise I will fix it. And what it is that if your kid fails to get an athletic scholarship, fathers, you are going to be blamed. It is going to seem to everybody it's your fault, even if it is not your fault. And I think that's something that as men, we kind of get used to just in general. We're supposed to be able to save the day. We should have had a plan laid out. That plan should be executed, and if executed correctly from everything that we thought was the way it was supposed to go, we should be okay. But I have to tell you, every year, we've been doing this for a long time now, almost 8 years now. And if you look at the numbers, it simply is impossible for all the kids that have the skill set to play at the collegiate level, from the high school to the collegiate level. There simply aren't enough spaces for everyone to get there. And so one of the things we did, one of the reasons I created AthleticSOS, was to help the parents that weren't quite sure about everything figure out the path to get there, and then to give everybody a back pocket opportunity. Like, you've got something on the side here just in case things don't go the way they seem that they are going. So let's throw some numbers out real quick. There's about 8 million kids that play high school athletics. And to be fair, maybe 450,000 of them have the skill set to play at the collegiate level. So those numbers, and then there's about 450,000 to 500,000 spots for college athletics, right? From NCAA divisions 1, 2, and 3, NAIA, and even junior colleges, just that whole broad. So the numbers seem to be pretty good. But what you have to remember is there's only one grade that's graduating from college sports. So you have a smaller number of spots that are available. And so you're trying to fit in there. And I'm not even talking about the fifth grade seniors. I'm not talking about red shirts at the college level. I'm not talking about the new transfer portal, right? You got the transfer portal now, so kids are moving around that played for other schools. I'm not even talking about prep school or junior college kids, community college kids that are going to move over to the 4-year schools. So all of this stuff is happening at the same time. And this is not to be discouraged, because if you've been getting letters in the mail, that there's phone calls you've been having with some college coaches, it feels like you're in the right spot. And if you have your academics together, that knocks a lot of the kids out. Probably more than anything else that I've seen. If you don't have your SAT, ACT scores together, if your GPA is not there, if you don't qualify to attend that college, and then those same kids and those parents from high school, they don't want to go to community college. They have enough to get to a 4-year school. They want to move forward, so they don't even think about the community college angle. So all of this stuff, some kids want to go to trade school. So if you got all of this stuff going on, there's only so many seats available. And so how do you give yourself an advantage? And I'm going to tout AthleticSOS. It simply is the best way to give yourself that extra oomph that everybody else doesn't give you, the advantage over all of the competitors that are trying to get those few spots that are available at the collegiate level. And there's enough to get you there, in my opinion. And so what we do at AthleticSOS, we take your kids' athletic, their grades, their GPA, SAT, ACT scores, and take both the SAT and the ACT. Just get them both under your belt. They're slightly different in the test, and for some kids, their thinking process for one doesn't match up with the other. So make sure you take both, give your kid the best chance there. Make sure that they're getting exposure. Make sure that they have their GPA up, because we match their academic information with the sport they play and the level they want to play at the collegiate level that they believe they can compete. And we match you up, and we show you the schools that you match up to. And then you can outreach to those schools. You can do a little more investigation. And this is great for the kids using the software, because they can go look at all of these schools and they can say, okay, I can academically get in this school. They give athletic scholarships for my sport. Let me go and take another look. This may not be the schools that have been reaching out to me so far, that have been recruiting, that looks like they're interested in me. And the number one thing that happens with all of this stuff is you will never know. If you don't get a scholarship, or if you do get a scholarship offer, you will never know how close you were to not getting it, or why they select you. Maybe they'll tell you why they selected you if they did select you, but why they didn't select you, they just disappear. It's a ghost on you, right? They just disappear. They don't call. You can call and reach out to them. They may take the call. They may not take the call, but they may never call you back. And they just chose someone else. They went a different direction, and it seemed like they were in love with you. And that is the most disappointing of all. The kids had all of their cards in this one pack over here. This is where they wanted to go. This was their dream school. This for the parents. They had talked to the coaches. Everything looked like it was in line, and it didn't happen. Now, I don't tell this story very often. Everybody knows I got into this because I was confused about how to help my daughter get an athletic scholarship. And I mean, completely confused. And I don't care who I talk to. No one could tell me exactly how to get an athletic scholarship or what it was. What was the difference between this kid and this kid who were exactly the same skill set, the same grades, the same everything. How come that kid got the offer and my kid didn't? Same school, maybe. How come they got in and my kid didn't? And I always remember, so my daughter played basketball. And these are things I still didn't understand, even though I followed her high school coach. Her high school coach used to be a junior college coach. So he was the one that gave me this pattern that I took from my skill set as a systems person, a network person. I wrote this program based on what we did to get my daughter an athletic scholarship. And even though we did everything correctly, out here in California, so there's my daughter played basketball. She was a point guard. And there's a day in September, I think it's September, it's been a long, long time ago, so forgive me if I'm wrong on this. There's a day in September that the coaches can start reaching out to the recruits that they're really interested in. My daughter had a great junior year, great summer. We looked really good. We got letters all over the walls. Coaches have been kind of contacting us as best they could. And it was a while ago, back in 2010. And so it just felt like we were in great shape, right? But so there's this day that the coaches can start contacting the kids, and it was usually, very seldom was it to make an official offer, but it was to let that kid know, hey, we're really interested in you. And what they usually did on those phone calls was try to get some contact and see if it was fit, right? That coach, it was usually assistant coach, sometimes the head coach if they really, really, really wanted you. But they were just trying to get a feel, a little conversation going. And then they were going to invite you to the football homecoming game for October, November, whenever football started on the program. Happened to most of the kids, right? That is the big thing is, hey, we want you to come out, be our guest. We're offering you an invite. Now, you can still go to the schools that you wanted to go visit on your own and make contact with the coaches. But this, where they're inviting you, they're really, really interested in you. And an offer will probably be forthcoming. If you go there, they get to meet you in person and you guys kind of click. That's sort of what the world was back then. And so on this day that the coaches can make those calls, it usually was somewhere in the afternoon that the time was. It was just a whole bunch of things. So everybody's anticipating this phone call, as we were. My daughter's back home from school, high school. She's at home. I'm sitting on the couch downstairs. My wife came home early that day to make sure she was there so she could be there when the call came in. And the time came and nothing. Our phone did not ring at all. And my daughter's sitting there. I remember she's sitting at the dining room table. I'm on the couch and I remember her face. No one's calling. And then all of a sudden my wife's cell phone starts to ring. And so it's her friends going, hey, did your daughter get a phone call? You know, we got a call from this place and we got a call from this place, and they're getting multiple calls. And I don't know what's wrong. But I saw everybody's face. I saw my daughter's face. Then my wife starts going, see, I knew we should have done this, or we should have gone to this travel club program, or you should have put her in this high school instead of that high school. All of this stuff is coming, and I'm sitting there. Now, I do have a couple of backup plans. I thought we did everything right, though. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. But I had a couple of backup plans. I had a recruiting service who was really interested in working with us. So I knew I could probably get her somewhere. I knew she had the skill to play at that level. Everyone's telling me that. In fact, the recruiting service I was going to use was telling me you probably don't need us. She really could play at the level, at the D1 level. And so I wasn't scared, but it was a little off-putting because I'm not quite sure what's going on. And about 2 hours after the time, 2.5 hours, the phone rings. The first phone call comes in. And we're all kind of relieved. And the school that called was a mid-major school. So it wasn't one of the major schools that we had been looking at, but it was a mid-major, had sent a ton of letters. She had a whole bunch of those letters on the wall. So that coach came on and said, hey, you know, we're really interested in you. We love the way you play. We would love for you to come out and visit with us so we can talk and kind of meet each other. They're on the East Coast. I'm on the West Coast. I want a West Coast school because I want to go to the games, right? I want to sit in the crowd and watch my daughter play. She goes on the East Coast, and, you know, I get to watch her online, I guess, and we go to a few games, but we can't just travel back and forth like that. And so, but the interesting thing that coach said was, here's what we need you to do. We were hoping you were really close there, but we need you to go take the SAT again. You're not quite there. And now it clicks in my head. Her SAT score for a lot of the D1 schools, maybe some of the other levels too, did not give a good showing for her. And she didn't do bad on it. I didn't think she did bad on it. But there's levels for certain schools that you're trying to get into. And so, and I'm hearing that because we have her on, the coach on speakerphone. I said, hey, coach, this is her dad. What about her ACT score? Because I had her take the ACT on the West Coast. The ACT was not a big deal. It was SAT for everything. Back east and down south and maybe in the Midwest a little bit, the ACT was very prominent. And she goes, oh, did she take it? We didn't see that. I said, yeah. And the coach goes, well, do you have her scores? And I said, yeah, here they are right here. And we read the scores off. She goes, okay, I'm going to call you right back. And then she hung up. And then she called back about, I guess, about 20, 30 minutes later and said, okay, don't do anything else. Just go ahead and we're making the offer for you to come out and visit with us. And so, so her ACT score was great. She really knocked it out the park with the ACT. And so after that happened, the next morning, I called her counselor at the school. I said, hey, did you upload her grades to the portals, right? The NCAA and the NAIA portals, because they didn't see her ACT scores. And then her counselor said, oh, you know what? We were going to do it today. Let's get it in for her. And I had been on their case about uploading her transcripts and her information for weeks because I knew this day was coming. And I wanted to make sure all the coaches that go and check those sites that they had everything that they needed. And so that got uploaded. And then probably 2 days later, our phone's ringing off the hook. And so it's all these other schools that were interested, they started to call. Now, here's the other thing. We didn't get nearly as many calls as we were getting letters. And I don't mean we got 1 or 2 letters. I'm talking about the colleges give you a series of letters. Hi, nice to meet you. Hey, we're going to be playing this team this weekend. Go our spirit. Here's, you know, the teammates have all signed off on it. We're really interested in meeting you and all of this stuff. It's like a series that they put together. That means to us that they're interested, but not necessarily. But here's the other thing I found. My daughter, some of those schools had come out and they scouted my daughter. She was a point guard. That is the position she was going to have to play. So if they weren't looking for a point guard coming out, they weren't that interested. She was a great athlete. She's a great basketball player, but they didn't see her as a forward or possibly as a 2 guard with her shooting because she didn't shoot a lot. She scored, but she didn't shoot a lot. And so all of these factors, I don't even know what's going on. I'm just seeing that we have this interest. Of course, we're going to get some. So we got enough visits. We got all of our visits taken care of, and we did everything we wanted to do. But this is where it came down to something I talk to you guys about all the time. There was one school that was in love with her. That school that called her, that asked her to go take the SAT again, that's a school that loves you, that wants you there no matter what, because they didn't have to call. They didn't have to ask us to do that. And so when we went there, it wasn't the school that I wanted. But when we went to go do the visit, my daughter actually fell in love with that school. And I didn't pressure her. I didn't say, hey, this school loves you, so we should be looking at this, because all the other schools started to come through once her ACT score got up there. And so I guess my bottom line is you could miss out. You could have done everything perfectly and still missed out. And as dad, you're going to get blamed for it. It's going to be, why didn't we do this? Why didn't we do this? A lot of second guessing, a lot of angst in your kid's face, because the situation didn't go the way they wanted. So I'm saying that to say, please, 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 at least use AthleticSOS. It does not cost you anything. And I put down below, I give you a code, I give you instructions for how to use the code. Just sign up, use it. Even if you think you don't use it, you don't need it, put it in your back pocket. Get a couple of schools that you see that you academically qualify to attend. They have the sports you want. You took a look. They have your major. It's in the area. It's rural, urban, suburban. It feels good to you. This feels like a school I can go to. I know these other schools are looking at me, but I'm going to go ahead and reach out and let these schools know that I'm interested in them. They might not even know I exist, right? Because they have a smaller budget. Maybe they're D2, D3, NAIA. They can't send their coaches all across the country. But you want to let them know, hey, I'm interested in you and I fit what you do. So take a look at me. And here's where I'm going to be. It's all in the software. It's really a great piece of software, and I hope you guys use it. Now, I want to go to phase 2 because I like to do these videos, and I like to push you guys a little bit more. So now you're dad. And one of the things that I have found, so this year I've gone to robotics conferences, I've gone to AI conferences, and I just came back last week from an AR, VR, the Augmented Reality World, Augmented World Expo out here in California. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, I can guarantee you, you have no idea what to tell your kid to go study for the future, to make sure they're going to have a good job. This world is upside down right now. And to me, I'm putting the challenge out to all the fathers. Every dad out there, this is going to be on you. You've got to put your kid in a position for their future. And what is that going to be? I'm not 100% sure. What should they go study? If they want to be a doctor, a lawyer. I'm telling you, from the AI conference I went to, doctors and lawyers are going to be commodities coming soon. A lot of stuff is going to be able to be done. Your kid wants to go into whatever they're trying to do. You really don't know. And that's why I like to wear these shirts. In fact, I created this shirt because, so what's going to save them is their curiosity, their imagination, right? Their daydreaming. All the stuff that seems negative to us, like fluff, that is what's going to save them moving forward. You have to be valuable to these organizations now. It's not a skill test anymore. It's going to be, what can you do to add to our bottom line? What is your thought process? What are your ideas? What are you bringing that we don't see necessarily? Your job is going to be, because AI, computers, whatever's coming, robotics, all of that stuff that's coming, they can do the basic stuff. They can come in and do your work. If you're pushing paper, your middle management, all the way down to you're a teacher, it doesn't matter what field you're a nurse, it doesn't matter what field you're in, computers are going to be able to do a lot of it. And I'm not saying they're going to be able to do everything. You're going to need some people there. But for the most part, you're going to become a commodity, which means you don't make enough money to be able to buy a home, to get married, to start a family, to be able to take those vacations, to get that car. All the stuff that you're thinking about, what we call over here the American dream, is going to be tough because their wages won't keep up. So what are you going to be able to do? I don't know. No one knows. No one can tell you which fields to go into. People are going into STEM. STEM is flooded now. And you're watching. If you read the headlines day after day after day, it's your Apples, your Microsoft, your Netflix, whatever it is, they're just laying people off left and right. Those were the safe jobs. You're an engineer getting laid off. A lot of stuff they simply won't need anymore. Education department, yes, you need some teachers around to kind of manage things, but the classroom, the day-to-day, more and more kids are going to be taught through a system that will understand who that kid is and be able to teach directly to them to get their math scores up, their English scores up, their reading, writing, arithmetic. All of that can be done. And it'll be delayed a little bit. The government knows they can't just put everybody out of work, so it'll be trickled in. And so then what do? And I can't even tell you. I'm sitting here. I know what I would send. I'm a granddad now. I know what I'm going to do with my grandchild, what I'm trying to lean them towards, but I'm not his parent. But I'm going to push this in my way of doing things, just from the stuff that I've seen. I'll talk about this as we move forward on things, because I don't want to get you down some path just because it's my idea. It has to be your idea. But what's my challenge? So what's my challenge to the dads? You're going to have to create something right now that your kids can come and latch onto once they go to school, once they get out of school, all of that kind of stuff. You need to create something. And I don't know what that is. I did software, right? I retired from my government job. I had the years in. So, and then I started this software. I saw this coming 10 years ago. I said, this is not good. So we need to have something going on. Now, this was something that I did for a living. And here's the other thing. I had other people that can help me. When I was designing AthleticSOS, the database was giving me trouble because I needed to do something that was very difficult to do. But one of the people that I work with has got to be one of the best database designers in the world, according to me. And I've met a lot of people. And just imagine, I know this person. They sit right across from me. And I just walked over and said, hey, here's what I'm trying to do. What do you think? How should I set this up? And then they got involved in it. And it was a puzzle for them, too. And it was one that they were excited to do. And then other people started hearing, and hey, you're working on this and that. And we want to be a part of it. And so I got lucky. But this is the field that I was in. But you guys have the same thing. It may be something completely different, something we don't know about. You could be in the trades. Okay, what's coming in the future for, and some of the things that I went to for, if you're a plumber or you're an electrician, being able to put these goggles on and go in there and you can see what's going on. It will tell you what's working and what's not working, what you need to change out, which part is needed, all of that kind of stuff. You need to get into that world. What is this field going to look like later? And you start working on that. It could be anything you want to do, but you should start something so that your kid can come out and be able to say, okay, I don't know what's going on here, but at least dad had this thing getting started. I'm going to come in and maybe take it over. I'm going to start working with you. And the same thing for your spouse and your maybe a sibling, somebody else wants to get into it. You're going to have to go out there and create something, make something. And here's the other thing. And this is why I push sports all the time. Your kid is going to have to be networking immediately. That's really what college is going to be right now. Yes, you're going there to get your degree and get that piece of paper, but really it's the networking. effect. That's why people try to go to the best schools. And I'm going to tell you this, there's probably 10, let's say there's 20 schools that are well known that will make the difference between you getting the job and not getting the job across the country. Most schools, and there's great universities all across the country, but you leave that region and most people aren't that impressed with that school. They've heard of it. It sounds pretty good, but it doesn't impress me here. I'm on the West Coast. So if you're in the Midwest or you're back east or you're down south or you're up north, it doesn't impress the people out here. And so the college degree is becoming a commodity, especially the bachelor's. Your associates is like a high school degree, right? Then you got to go get your master's and your PhD and you're doing all this. And now you're in all this debt that you cannot get rid of anymore. And so you're sending your kid into this world of almost impossibility. How do I get where I need to get to? And I don't want to go too far down this road, but sports is one of the things that you can do. It doesn't matter what your background is, your economic background, your social background, your connections. When you guys go places, they're all coming together, right? They're going to be playing against each other. You can get into any world you want to. Your kid can meet all of these great people. They're going to camps. They got high school games. They got travel club programs. All of this stuff is going on. They're going to training with certain trainers and things like that. If your kid's got this talent, it starts to show up early, somewhere around 9 or 10. And you start to see that your kid is going to separate from some of the other people. So that most of the people that I'm talking to, their kids have that ability. And so you've got to make sure your kids get in and get involved with all these other people, not just as an athlete, right? What else is that your kid into? When you're going places, you're going to all of these different camps and you're going to all these different places where you're staying overnight and you're going across the country or you're going upstate or you're going for the weekend, whatever is going on. What else is there that's in your kid? Do you even know your kid that well that you can say, hey, we're going up here. They have XYZ there. Why don't we go take a look? Go see. I know you're interested in this. That's the world you're going to have to get into. And I know you go to work every day. You got enough stuff on your table, but this is something you're going to need to do. And this is going to help you too, because it gives you a back pocket thing just in case you do get laid off. You should have something else running right now. So I'm throwing all this out. It's Father's Day. I want you guys to go enjoy your day, right? Enjoy your family. Have a great time. But start to think right now, today, what else should we be doing? Where am I on this? Let me download this software. And I know I'm pitching my own software and I don't do it very often, but I'm doing it today because it may be the difference. It may be that school that you reached out to is the school your kid ends up going to versus the schools that have been reaching out to you on their own. So do both. It doesn't hurt to have both of there. And we don't charge for the software. I have a organizational piece. We try to work mostly with high schools. I work with organizations more than I do with individuals. And so I created this individual and you just happen to be watching this video. That's the only reason you know about it. You never see us advertise AthleticSOS. You haven't seen it anywhere. I don't do that. I don't want to do that world. That's too much work for me. I want to be able to write the software and help as many families as possible. And that's your high schools, your travel club program. So any of you guys that are ahead of those, contact us. Look for me. Go to info@AthleticSOS and you can contact me anytime and I'll help you guys get set up. So anyway, so that's it. I didn't want to overdo this, but you are the linchpin. And moms, I know women are watching this and I'm going to get in a whole bunch of trouble, but I'm sorry. Dad's going to get you. Fathers, you are going to be blamed. And they may not even say it overtly and they may be okay and the world goes on. And if they don't get that scholarship, then you should have your family in a way where that's okay. We're going to move forward. We got other stuff we can do. Okay. And so anyway, so best of luck to you guys in everything you do. In all your endeavors. Have a great Father's Day. And then next week, we'll get into a little bit more about these changes. And I didn't even talk about that in this video, that House versus the NCAA, that has dropped, that it has been approved and they're moving forward at breakneck speed. Look it up, look at House versus NCAA settlement, see what's in there. And I will talk about it big time next week. And then we'll try to go from there. And we're including that, what we think is coming from that in AthleticSOS, and I'll talk a little bit more about that also as we go through the next few weeks. All right, guys, talk to you next week.